Today, we're diving into a massive security threat that's, well, hiding in plain sight. We're talking about your own IT team, the very people who build and protect your company's digital fortress. They might be accidentally handing over the keys to the kingdom just by using public AI tools. And we're going to break down exactly how that happens. And just a quick note before we jump in, all the information in this explainer comes directly from Chapter 6 of a tutorial by Virtualization Options LLC. So, let's start with a really simple but kind of terrifying question. What if an attacker had the complete blueprints to your entire IT setup? I mean, everything. It sounds like a total nightmare, right? But it's a risk that becomes very real the second someone on your IT team pastes a network diagram or a server config file into a public AI to get some help. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at how this data becomes a blueprint for a breach. Then, we'll get into the attacker's playbook. After that, we'll talk about how you can spot an intrusion, how to build your fortress to prevent it, and finally, what on earth to do if a breach has already happened. So, how does this even happen? Well, think about it. Your IT pros are smart and they're trying to work faster. They're using AI to troubleshoot tricky problems or to brainstorm better system designs. But in the process, they could be feeding at the crown jewels, your network diagrams, your firewall rules, maybe even sensitive security audit findings. You know, they're trying to build a stronger castle, but they might be handing over the architectural plans to the enemy. And this quote really hits the nail on the head. This isn't just another data leak. It's like giving a bank robber the blueprints to the vault, the locations of all the cameras, and the combination to the safe. It lets them skip all the guesswork and plan a perfect, surgical, and devastating attack. Okay, so once your data is out there, how is it actually used against you? Well, it doesn't just sit there. It becomes a literal playbook for attackers, and believe me, they know exactly how to turn this technical information into a weapon. You can see the whole attack path laid out here. It kicks off with reconnaissance, only now they aren't guessing. They know your most valuable servers. Next, they use your own security reports to find the weakest link. From there, it's easy to target your supply chain, your vendors. They'll also sift through your automation scripts, which, by the way, are often a goldmine for passwords and API keys. And maybe the most chilling part? They study your disaster recovery plans to find the one thing that will cause maximum chaos. That's exactly what a ransomware attacker dreams of. And let's be crystal clear here. We're not talking about some random hacker in a basement. The groups hunting for this kind of information are highly sophisticated. We're talking about state-sponsored actors, major ransomware syndicates. These are people who can turn dry technical details into a precision-guided missile aimed right at your company. Okay, that's the threat. It's serious, but it is not hopeless. So how do you fight back? How can you actually spot an intrusion and set up an early warning system before it's too late? Your defense has to start with visibility. You just can't protect what you can't see. This means you have to classify sensitive data like network maps so you know the second someone touches them. It means putting your most privileged IT accounts, the ones with the keys to everything, under a microscope. It means having tools that can spot a password in a script before it gets pasted into an AI, and it means knowing exactly who is looking at your core architectural documents at all times. And here is a really clever, really proactive technique you can use. Honey tokens and canaries. The idea is actually pretty simple. You plant fake stuff, fake passwords, fake server names, inside your real documents. This stuff looks totally real, but it has no business being used. So if an attacker ever tries to use one of these fakes, bang, an alarm goes off instantly. It's like a digital tripwire that tells you there's an intruder poking around. So detection is all about catching them in the act. But what's even better, stopping them from ever getting in. So let's talk about building your fortress, the proactive steps you can take to prevent this data from ever leaking in the first place. At its core, building this fortress really comes down to control. It means giving your IT team secure, company-approved AI tools so they have no reason to use public ones. It means strict segregation of duties, so no single person holds all the keys. It means security reviews are just part of the workflow, not an afterthought. And it means holding your vendors to the exact same high standards you hold for yourself. Now, this slide highlights a really powerful concept, just-in-time documentation. Think about it. Most companies have all this documentation sitting in static files, right? It's basically a treasure map just waiting for a pirate to find it. The just-in-time approach flips that on its head. The map is generated on the fly, only when someone needs it, and their access is temporary and heavily logged. You've just replaced a static treasure map with a moving target, and that is so much harder for an attacker to hit. And let's put a spotlight on one document in particular, your disaster recovery plan. This document needs to be locked down with extra layers of security. Why? Because to a ransomware attacker, that plan is pure gold. It's a step-by-step instruction manual on how to inflict the most possible pain on your organization, which of course maximizes the pressure on you to pay up. But what happens when the worst-case scenario becomes reality? The blueprints are stolen, they're out in the wild. What's your next move? Because what you do in this moment is absolutely critically important. The second you confirm that this kind of data is gone, an elevated risk period begins. You have to work under one assumption, and one assumption only. The attackers are actively studying your blueprints and preparing to use your own infrastructure against you. The clock is ticking, and it's ticking loudly. Your response needs to be fast, and it needs to be methodical. Step 1, figure out exactly what was stolen. Assess the exposure. Step 2, based on that, you harden everything immediately. That means rotating credentials, reconfiguring firewalls, patching anything mentioned in those documents. Step 3, you ramp up your monitoring, focusing your best threat hunters on the systems you know the attackers are now targeting. And finally, step 4, you have to ask the really hard question. Is our whole design compromised? Do we need to fundamentally change it? And beyond that initial firefight, you need a long-term plan to build resilience. This could mean redesigning parts of your network, bringing in new security controls like that just-in-time approach we talked about, rolling out secure AI tools for your teams, and training everyone on the lessons learned from the breach. It's all about making sure this can never, ever happen again. So we'll end with this thought. Right now, at this very moment, your IT infrastructure blueprint could be for sale on the dark web or sitting on an attacker's server. And the question you have to ask yourself is this. Are you prepared to redraw that blueprint, to fundamentally redesign your own house while it's already on fire?